Hold them so harmonious. The release from Discourse 16. December 22, 1937, Los Angeles, California. My dear beloved children of the light. We are so grateful to find an opportunity to voice to you that which is within the heart of light, for if you have not thought of it in this way, do so now. Remember, your heart, while to the human sense seems physical, is really a heart of light. My heart, every ascended master's heart, is a heart of light in reality. Yours is a heart of light in its expansion. Let us for the time being, listen with the heart tonight. Feel with the heart tonight, and release the mighty outpouring of ascended master divine love through each heart. I wish to render a certain service for you, if you will do this. Just still the intellect and let the heart listen and feel all I wish to give to it. Before we continue, please try to feel your heart and my heart are one, for in reality that is true. Then, from my heart to yours, can be conveyed my power of radiation, which will do for you what the spoken word cannot possibly do. Therefore, while you are listening to my words, let the vibratory action of my words act within your world. In the first place, you are entering now into a freedom, a presence, an activity of the cosmic light which holds about you, outside of your own individual effort, a certain radiance, a certain power of assistance. This is being done for the students throughout America and the world, and especially those who will be present at the coming class. As the vast number of students have been calling for this to be the most powerful class yet, so shall it be a class unparalleled in the history and experience of the messengers and yourselves. As the messenger said, you have been calling for our visible tangible presence. In your cities where the greatest need is, several of the ascended masters have in the past few days moved in the visible, tangible bodies, to release into the octave of earth, a certain power of radiation which is required to govern the conditions at this time, for you are at a crisis, as the beloved John said last night, rarely reached on the earth. Had it not been for your mighty decrees which have been issued, going forth in the mental and feeling world, disaster would have come before now. During the great Himalayas dictation, when the messengers were here before, from that hour, there were established through the atmosphere of earth, air currents to carry the words or qualities, which the ascended masters convey during these dictations. These are carried forth from the classes wherever they are held. This has never been experienced on earth before, and it had to be done, to give the protection which America and her beloved people need today. Shall I say something to you tonight, which may seem startling? Yet do not feel it so. The sinister activity in Europe, seeing it has accomplished about as much destruction as it can at the present time, recently made a tremendous surge, to try to reach into your beloved America. Well, it failed again, because of this mighty preparatory work. I say to you tonight, beloved students, in the name of your God, your mighty I Am presence, grow not impatient in your application. You sometimes question its power of activity. Possibly you may not see so much of the manifestation in your individual life, but, beloved people, it is not a matter of your individual life. It is a matter of the protection of America and the preparing of a condition, in which mankind may live, for without it, your bodies unascended would know no happiness here. As you have been prompted from the beginning of the activity of the messengers, much has led up to this culminating point of activity, where either the destruction would sweep in or the power of light would be sufficient to repel it. And later the great cosmic light dissolve and consume it from the earth forever. So don't, oh don't, worry about your individual selves, beloved ones. You can be sure after a service, such as has been and is being rendered, you will have assistance. Don't question the care of your own individual life. How in the name of the great presence of light, could any human being who is sincere in the call to the presence, for the protection of America and its people, how could he or she fail to have it fill that one's world, which would later outpicture as magnificent majesty and victory of the light, individually speaking? It could not be otherwise. Life, beloved ones, never fails its creation. Try to feel at one with me tonight. While this radiance is pouring forth into your world, forget for the moment that I am an ascended being, a cosmic being. Forget it is anything but the power and activity of your own life. We must get you to feel more powerfully the reality which is your life acting. We are the power of life acting. Our understanding, our ability is beyond yours. Think again. Still we are the power in the presence of light acting, and this is what we want you to feel, with such great earnestness. Then you remove from your world, your feeling world, any feeling there is anything unusual about the activity of this great law of life, which produces these results for you and the world. Beloved ones, as long as there is a feeling or sense of something mystical about this great law, you are holding it to some degree from you, from rushing in and doing its perfect work for you. All of the teachings of mankind have made the action of the great law of life to the human sense something mystical. It is not. Even the ascension is as practical as your mathematics, because it is the action of your life, directed by the great individualized God presence, your mighty I Am. Tonight, let us enter into the practical feeling that your presence of life is the intelligence and power which is doing these things for mankind and the world. So far as the protection of America is concerned, will you feel with me for a moment the fulfillment of the promise of the great ones, whom you have now come to know as the great goddess of liberty and the mighty Arcturus? Each one has promised, if necessary, that the light of 1,000 suns shall descend into the earth, dissolve and consume all human selfishness and discord from the planet. These promises are real. It does mean your cooperation with the great cosmic law, and we are nearing the balancing activity, through these mighty calls of the people of earth. Then, have courage to go on, and on, and on, in these mighty decrees. Naturally, if you believe my words, it will give you a greater courage and strength, a greater depth of feeling, in its release through these decrees, into the mental and feeling world of mankind, to perform this service which is required, and it is all a perfectly natural process. As you become more aware of it, you begin to feel, as you must now, the fulfillment of your calls. Beginning with the shrine class, you will find this acting with tremendously greater power in your world, and you will begin to see more rapidly the outpicturing of your call. I want to congratulate our beloved Mr. and Mrs. Sindelar on the magazine, for standing against destructive forces which have rarely been felt upon this earth. Now their great struggle is past, and I congratulate them. I wish to shake their hands, through the messengers. Beloved students, I want to say to those who have sometimes felt critical or impatient, you have no more idea than an infant, what these blessed ones have had to stand against from the sinister force of human creation, for this magazine has been a thorn in the side of the sinister activity, prodding it, and will continue to. A stronger guard is this night placed about them, their home and activity, and a greater happiness will fill each one, their worlds and activity. The messengers stood against the great onslaught in the beginning, gaining their momentum, and now they can laugh at all human destructive activities and know they have no power. So these beloved ones will be able to say to all destructive forces, you have no power. Get thee hence. That is what we want every one of the precious students to be able to do, through the harmony in the feeling, say to all limiting destructive forces or appearances of any kind, you have no power. Get thee hence, and it will be done. You cannot imagine what it means to stand as a target for all the vicious forces of the earth, for remember, the whole earth is now coming to know of this activity. In every country in the world, it has become known. Today, some of the unfortunate blessed ones, who have let vicious gossip turn them aside, are seeing their mistakes and will see them more and more, until they return home to this great stream of light. All the vicious human opinions on earth, dear people, don't matter. Why will mankind not understand and see the first fundamental of life is, what individuals send forth, they must reap? Why will people not understand and believe that, before it is too late, and they have to reap the frightful destruction they send out? Again, we shall be patient, and you will see it return upon its creator. We have been patient through many centuries, will you not be patient with us a few years? You will see all the proof any human being desires of this great law, but it is not affected by human opinions concerning it. We are not affected by human opinions. We utilize the great law to the fullest degree, which the law of the individual will permit, as each one's own light expands. Therefore we see the glory. More and more people, the students especially, are coming to a point where they are more and more unaffected by silly human gossip. You must be unaffected by all gossip, for it is of the human. As the great goddess of liberty said in West Palm Beach, it is well for each one to take an inventory of himself or herself. See wherein you can give greater obedience to the law of your life, for it is exacting, I assure you. The law of life is no respecter of persons. Whatever you create in your world, you will experience, even today. We see the expansion of the light within the students and their firm, oh, so much firmer determination to stand unyielding, even to listening to destructive experiences. It is the mightiest thing in human beings' experience. Any human being who will take his or her stand, and refuse to listen to any discordant thing, will find that one's world flooded with perfection and the good things of life. It is why the messengers have pounded, and pounded, and pounded, this one mighty truth to the students from the beginning. They shall continue, until the beloved ones get this point into their consciousness so powerfully, they will no longer be affected by discordant things. You must do it, if you wish ever to be free. That is why, tonight, I am taking this opportunity, to prompt you once again, in the preparation for this class, because a power will be released never before known. Let me prompt you. To every student who comes into the shrine auditorium, I say please, do not allow one thought or feeling of your own concept, to requalify the release of this mighty energy. We must be firm. There is no reason why anyone should come into that class and not feel a power, a joy, an exhilaration, a healing presence, unparalleled on the face of this earth. Don't let anyone come into the auditorium and get faint or disturbed. Such things are going to cease. It only is the requalification, by one's own human feeling. Take your stand and don't do this. Then, you will receive the fullness of the healing power. Any person coming into the room who will harmonize his or her feeling and sustain it sufficiently, will go forth healed of every condition which has ever beset that one. Now, do you wish to take advantage of it? I prompt you, don't either in your individual life or in this class, allow one single human feeling to requalify the release of this powerful energy, for it will come forth from your presence as well as from us. It cannot produce anything but perfection for you, greater harmony, greater joy, greater health and strength. So do not let the human requalify it. Don't think I am criticizing you, beloved ones, tonight, but I refer you to beloved Saint Germain's words. A lady who was in the home of the messengers in their early experiences, had the habit of fainting quite often, so during beloved Saint Germain's dictations of the I Am discourses in their home, he took up the subject and sent word to the lady, now don't faint any more. He said, you don't have to faint unless you want to. Well, the lady never fainted again. Precious hearts, I wish to help you feel and see the requalification of the action of the energy, within your world, which produces these conditions. If any person, the moment he or she feels some slight disturbance will say, here, stop that. I will not have it. In 90% of the cases, they will stop the whole action. You know, when you begin to feel faint, you get more and more faint. Do you know, alertness is a most magnificent thing. We are trying to convey to you, to be alert to all conditions, whether they be physical conditions and appearances in the outer world, or whatever it is that is affecting you or your world. If you will say, stop. Right. Then, you release the power which is the controlling element of the condition, whatever it may be. If it be an appearance as an outside condition, if you will instantly take command of yourself and say, stop. You shall not enter my world. You shall not disturb me. You will find yourself in full command of your world and the conditions which surround you. Beloved ones, how do you suppose we control conditions? By that very identical thing. Naturally, we are able to release a greater power than you are, but still we must help you make a beginning, and the sooner we do, the quicker you are master of your world. In the fullness of the love, the power of divine love, which I am able to release to you, if you will do this, I will assist you to a victory and speed of achievement which will delight you. We think the time has come, when the beloved students everywhere, must feel and make manifest this dominion in their lives. There always comes a time in the life and expansion of the light of every individual, where after a certain amount of prompting, each one is left, as you often term it, upon his own, to sink or swim. Does that sound cruel? No. We often feel the call of students, longing to lay their heads upon our chests and weep, to arouse our sympathy to take their defense. Well, you may lay your heads upon our chests, but not to weep, only to rejoice by the power of your own victory. Sometimes, when the feeling comes to us, oh, if the ascended masters are all this, why don't they do something? They are doing plenty all the time, but let me remind you, the messengers did not have us pick them up and carry them around. They had to apply the law for their own protection, for everything which they have, and when you will apply as dynamically as they have, and when you will refuse acceptance into your world of all foolish human gossip, you will have your freedom then and there. Is it not comical, that after all the magnificent work the messengers have done, the wonderful light they have brought to mankind, there are still a few who cannot help but gossip? Isn't it comical? It is not serious, not at all, but it shows you what you should avoid. I bring this point to you tonight, for I think it will be of great assistance. When you hear of, or someone expresses some destructive or discordant thing, won't you be alert and say silently, "There is something which I must avoid, or I will be reaping the same thing he or she is." It is a marvelous means of prompting yourself to avoid the things, the destructive qualities acting, which you see acting in others. Remember, another thing, everyone who expresses discord of any kind, now this is concerning the general law of life, is but counteracting the great light, called forth to bring release and freedom to mankind. Do you see that? Already the world is weighted down by human creations of discord throughout the many centuries. Relief must come now, if mankind is to survive. We are doing everything possible to be done. If you do not think we are truthful, then of course you have lost the benefit which we try to give, but when we see from our unlimited standpoint, your requirement, won't you let us help you to quickly become free from every limiting thing? We are all right. We are perfectly safe, but I question your safety, unless you are willing to give this obedience. It is wonderful, beloved ones, so very wonderful to come to the point where you are alert and see the activities about you, the effects which they are producing and what is acting. Then, you will always be master of the situation, but the moment something can sweep you into some kind of discord, it has its foot on your neck, just as definitely as you would put your physical foot on the neck of an individual, and you know what that means. It means you are under its control for the time being. This is sufficient for your prompting. Now let us take a little happier consideration in the achievement. Will you listen carefully to me, while I state a few things which should mean everything in the world to you? Let me remind you of the beginning of my effort in San Francisco, when I attempted to give you greater assistance in the consuming of 1/3 of your own accumulation of the centuries. Sometimes, you expect your friends to render you a service, do you not? Sometimes to do you favors. Well, do you think your physical friends are as willing to render you a service as I was? Let us think deeply, this is meaning a great deal. I was willing to render this service for every honest, earnest, sincere, student, which I did. I did my part. Then came the time, when another 1/3 was consumed. Do not feel, I have done that for anyone who has not been willing to give the obedience required, but the great release to those who have obeyed, is manifest today in their lives. Now has come the great Astrea. I question the wisdom, tonight, of stating to you, the number of discarnates who have been taken out of the Earth's atmosphere in the past 8 months, for we have a record of every one. Bookkeepers and accountants in the physical world think you have considerable to do, but I tell you, the records we are compelled to keep far surpass yours, and believe me, as accurate as your records are here, so are our records accurate. I shall think it over and perhaps give you in definite figures the number which have been removed from the Earth in the past 8 months. That is why all over America, the pressure upon individuals is so tremendously less today, and why there are hundreds of thousands who feel it definitely. This does not mean just the students, because it has taken the pressure from thousands and thousands of people who never heard of this activity, but that is the service which must be rendered mankind. People who are relieved from the pressure of their relatives and friends in their invisible association, are feeling definitely this tremendous release. We are just having a little resume, tonight. Think of it, the beloved goddess of liberty, was the great wisdom and power which gave Washington the vision you have come to know so well, the 3rd episode of which, we are trying now to prevent acting in your beloved country. She, in her great wisdom, saw down the centuries what would affect America, and through mighty Saint Germain's great and wondrous activity, is making possible to avoid the 3rd and most destructive thing, which would ever overtake the Earth. Because it meant, if that should be victorious, there would be no place on the Earth decent for mankind to live. My dear people, my dear beloved students of the light, if you knew the conditions which exist in Europe and the Orient today, you would call as never before in your life. I tell you, you have not a fragmentary idea of the actual conditions which exist today. Allow me to remind you, why did her great presence, her great wisdom in the final closing of her vision say, to Washington, that if necessary, the great light as of 1,000 suns would descend into the earth? Because her wisdom saw the wavering attitude of mankind. Why do you suppose we have been so earnestly endeavoring to bring the expansion of the light in enough of mankind to a point where we could positively depend on individuals standing by the light of their presence? For the very reason, there must be some correspondence, must be some means of direction in the octave of Earth, by which the great cosmic law could act. It is why and how, beloved ones, you are acting under a definite law of life which makes no mistakes. That life is your own mighty I Am presence. The individuals who will earnestly turn and give their attention to their I Am presence with feeling, determined feeling, will soon find all mistakes ceasing from their lives. This is why we have pled and implored the students for these 3 years to come to an anchorage in the light of their own wondrous presence. Oh, think of it. That great presence of light is the most wondrous thing in the whole universe, regardless of the octaves of light. That presence, your mighty I Am, is the most wondrous presence and being in the whole universe, actually beating your hearts, your physical hearts. Only now are the greater number of mankind coming to feel this with a greater intensity, and becoming more and more firm against all discordant things. Precious people, to hold complete harmony in your feeling, refuse to listen to or express a discordant thing, would within 1 year, fill your world with such happiness, perfection, and the supply of all you require, as is inconceivable in your mind, even today. Look at your beloved messengers whom you love so much. Only a few years ago, they were in the same limitations as all mankind. This beloved brother, how he struggled through those years. Today, he is no more the same being that he was 10 years ago, than as if he were from another planet. That is why the proof stands before you, beloved people of Earth. To anyone who is honest and sincere and wants to see the living proof, I say, it is before you all the time, of the magnificent, powerful manifestation of the sincere application of the laws of life, through the attention to the great God presence, the mighty I Am. That is why we have limitless patience. Today, when we see for the first time in many centuries, the actual tremendous progress being made, then can you feel with me, the rejoicing in our hearts? It is magnificent, beloved ones. It is magnificent beyond all expression, to find at last the response from beloved individuals who have so long forgotten their source. Within the last few days, we were in a great conference concerning the immediate requirements of the earth, and all agreed with such rejoicing. The response today was coming to the great balance, for the light, protection, and blessing of mankind in your beloved America. It is a wonderful thing. Never in 400 centuries has such a response been given by mankind. Now let us all give gratitude. Except for the mighty determination of the beloved Saint Germain, this would not be today. He was the one who took the responsibility. Remember that, beloved ones, and try never to forget it. He was the one who took the reins, took the responsibility for the failure or achievement. I won't say what it would have meant had he failed. You, I am sure in your greatest love have never contemplated such a thing. Then, do you wonder only last night, he spoke of the accomplishment, and poured forth his love and gratitude not only to the messengers and the beloved Sindelars, but to all the students for holding the fort and sending forth this wondrous magazine, which is doing so much more in the world than anyone dreams of, at this time. Do you wonder he and we pour forth such great gratitude to the students everywhere? Remember you are the great family of light. To the degree you refuse to give forth or listen to discord, are you aiding tremendously in the great victory soon to be determined? I want to say a word to you tonight, in behalf of your beloved Lotus. Could you know the hours, and hours, and hours, and hours, and hours, she works, day and almost all night, for the demand has grown greater, to render this service to beloved mankind. Our beloved Betty, who so willingly works, until her fingers split on the ends from the constant use of the typewriter. You cannot imagine, and as they cannot imagine, the marvelous service which the blessed Sindelars render here in this center of activity. Oh, I plead with you for your own light, never criticize them. Please do not do it. They need your love, your strength, to give them the happiness needed, in their wonderful service rendered to mankind. Take for instance, your environment here in Southern California. If every student would earnestly and sincerely pour out Ascended Master love and blessings to every other student, what a transformation would take place in your life inside of 60 days. Won't you let us help you? Won't you let us give you our strength, our courage, our serenity, and poise within your own feeling, which enable this mighty release to go forth continually? I know how many times great floods come forth and then there is a lull, because of disturbance, when if that flood of kindness could be continued, how quickly every discordant thing would be swept out of your world. Then, in its place, would come the glory of light from the presence, which is self-luminous, intelligent substance, and it would bring you its eternal, its everlasting blessing. This is why we never tire in prompting, in bringing forth to your attention, the need of the hour, the requirements for all, for life is exacting, beloved ones. So, tonight, this wondrous release is going forth and is enfolding you. Remember, it is self-luminous, intelligent substance. It is why in the beginning, I asked you to try to feel yourself in the great focus of light from your presence in your heart, so you might bring its great focus here. Through your attention, it brings the focal power of our great light and energy, to your point right here in the universe. Oh, that you might understand in its fullness, what the simple power of your attention means. In one's fondest imagination yet, there is none who grasps the fullness of this one great activity. Remember, there is no mistake about it, where your attention is, there you are, and what your attention is on, you become. Will you allow me to prompt you tonight? Don't, I plead with you, ever let your mind revert to a single thing which has passed. If you would do that, beloved ones, what release would come in a few hours? The reminder of the undesirable things which have passed, constantly bringing them back to the activity of your world today is useless, absolutely useless, and to so many, so very detrimental. Don't do it. What is past is gone, if you let it be gone forever. What you are today is what matters, for what you are today, you make for tomorrow. If you bring the past into it, then the past will become tomorrow. Think. Oh, beloved ones. Think of what mankind has been doing so long. Stop forever the bringing of the past, into the conditions of tomorrow, through the power of your feeling. Oh, draw a powerful line behind you and do not ever look back. If something undesirable occurs in your life, don't begin to wonder, why did that act? Why did that occur? Just say, thank God it was not worse. Thank God, I had the blessing. Thank God I had the protection. What a wonderful, wonderful freedom and blessing is bound to come out of it. Tonight, determine as never before in your life, to wipe completely out of your memory, everything which has passed, and if you have made mistakes, don't, I plead with you, condemn yourself. Call on the law of forgiveness and forget the thing forever. Oh, blessed ones, when you suddenly begin to be aware of the mistakes of the past, don't make a greater mistake by revolving your attention upon them. Simply with joy and thanksgiving call on the law of forgiveness and say, thank God, I don't have that any more. Then say, Mighty I Am Presence, take command of me and see I don't make it occur again today or in the future. How I rejoice with you, in the great victory which you are gaining over these simple things. It is the simple things, which you pass over daily, that make for the building of your foundation which cannot be interrupted or interfered with, and all you use with which to do it are those three faculties. Think of it. The simplicity and power of those three faculties, your attention, your vision, and your power of qualification. They are the molding power of your whole life. Control them. Call your presence to control them, because they are the power of the universe. If you have difficulty in your outer environment, then know your presence is the fullness of all power required for any accomplishment, for self-control or whatever it may be. Therefore, in its glory you must see with me, your victory now. Beloved ones, in the fullness of my great love, and the love of the ascended host of light, I call forth the fullness of its infinite enfolding presence, and may this radiance released tonight, fill you and your world with such joy, courage, strength, happiness and dominion, that never again from this hour, will anything but perfection touch or fill your world. I thank you.